Thank you, Greg.
It's going to perhaps double, maybe even triple your testosterone. Not only that, this lowers cholesterol significantly.
Do you want to hear my bullshit?
Do you want to be healthier? Do you want to feel better, to look better?
Cause I'll give you some bullshit. Yeah. That got out of control quickly.
Come with me. Sand in the eye.
This lowers cholesterol significantly.
Rather than attempting to force nature, perhaps it's more prudent just to support your body's ability to have healthy hormone levels. Your body needs cholesterol. In order to have normally functioning hormones, your body needs cholesterol. Now, your body can make cholesterol, but it can't make all the cholesterol that it needs. So if you are suffering with any type of sexual problem, 5 will get you 10 that you need to eat a bunch of eggs. Quite frankly, if you do eat a bunch of eggs or any other food that's high in cholesterol, well, this is not ever going to be a problem. It's going to go away. It's going to go away because the built-in foundation message of holistic medicine is your body knows how to fix itself. Your body wants to fix itself. Your body has a God-given built-in ability to fix itself. Your body is attempting to optimize its sexual function right now, regardless of your age. All you have to do is give it the stuff it needs and stop eating crap that's gumming up the works and get out of the way. 90 essential nutrients, extra selenium, eggs, and then some butter, and then some chicken skin, and then some turkey skin, and then a piece of rare steak. For goodness sake, we need to understand this because knowledge is power, and there's just a ton of misinformation about cholesterol in the world. So I have to bring you up to speed. You need to get a clue. The MDs are going to kill you, quite frankly. So let's talk about cholesterol. It's important because you don't know what you don't know. Every cell in your body, you have trillions with a T. Trillions of cells in your body. I don't care if it's a brain cell, a heart cell, a kidney cell, a liver cell, a skin cell, doesn't matter. If it's a cell, the cell wall is made from cholesterol. All of your sex hormones, male or female, testosterone, pregnenolone, estrone, estradiol, estrone, they're all made from cholesterol. That's what they're made from. As a matter of fact, 75% of your brain is made from cholesterol and all of your nerves. A significant portion of all of your nerves, every single nerve in your body is made from cholesterol. It is extremely important to the optimal structure and function of the human body. Why isn't it an essential fatty acid? Well, because your liver makes it. Your liver makes cholesterol. Your liver makes cholesterol. Cholesterol is so important to the function of your body that your body makes it. So can somebody please tell me who got the bright idea that cholesterol is bad for you? The body can only make 25% of the cholesterol that it needs. So you must eat foods that are high in cholesterol, and then your liver will do the rest. Cholesterol is transported through the body through lipoproteins, HDL. Everybody's heard of HDL and LDL. That's fancy schmancy doctor talk for high density lipoprotein, low density lipoprotein, or very low density lipoprotein. Isn't that creative on the part of your MD? Quite frankly, most of the terms that the MDs throw at you are designed to kind of make you think that they're intellectually superior, but when you dial it right down, it's just really uncreative nonsense. Cholesterol is transported through your body through these lipoproteins, and there is no such thing as good cholesterol, and there is no such thing as bad cholesterol. You have been played. All we've heard from the MDs and Big Pharma, cholesterol is the Antichrist. You need to have statin drugs to lower your cholesterol. You need to avoid fat like the freaking plague, and you have to exercise. $20 billion of statin drugs a year, and guess what's happened to heart disease? Nothing. Here's what really happens with heart disease. Arteries do, in fact, get clogged with plaque, which is made from cholesterol and some other stuff, and sometimes you'll get a calcium deposition in there. Calcium deposition in the arteries is caused by a deficiency in magnesium. It's not caused by an abundance of calcium. That is virtually impossible. Your body's needs on a daily basis for calcium are extreme. it is virtually impossible for somebody to get too much calcium into their body at any moment in time. But it is really easy to get not enough magnesium. And when you get not enough magnesium, calcium piles up in your arteries and they clog them up. You get calcification of your arteries. Cholesterol deposition happens because of fried food. Well, more specifically, oxidative damage to the wall of the artery. Because fried food and, yes, everybody's favorite, olive oil, contain free radicals. And when you consume free radicals, they also contain a nasty chemical called acrylamide. And when you consume free radicals and acrylamide, it causes inflammation. So you've got these little tiny inflammation bombs, free radicals and acrylamides tumbling through the bloodstream. And when they hit the wall of the artery, they stick there and they cause local sites of inflammation. And then the artery wall starts to tear. Is that a good thing? It's a bad thing. You're going to bleed to death if that continues to happen. So what does the body do? It puts down a cholesterol bandage to keep you from bleeding to death. Those of us in clinically applied, licensed, and regulated holistic medicine are of the belief that clogged arteries, the deposition of atherosclerotic plaque, is directly caused by runaway inflammation inside the circulatory system. And the main culprits are fried food, oil in a bottle, and, oh yeah, the other 8 of the 10 bad food. You don't get clogged arteries because you have arteries. You get clogged arteries because you're eating all the wrong food, and the fire department of your body has run out of the stuff it needs to put the fire out. It's not rocket science, but to the MDs, it's a complicated mystery. And again, you should be losing more and more and more respect for these people because you're giving tens of thousands of dollars to them every year, and they have no idea what causes clogged arteries. No idea. Zero idea. They'll tell you it's genetic, but that's a dodge. Again, if it were genetic, there'd be less and less and less of it, and we wouldn't be able to reverse it. I can't change the color of your eyes, can I? That's genetic. Your medical doctor is trained in a methodology which is old-fashioned, outdated, and completely incapable of helping your body cure anything. We've all taken the wrong dog to the hunt, and it's killing us.
You're going to experience is testosterone levels that are at least double what it is right now. It's going to perhaps double, maybe even triple your testosterone.
The thing that springs to everybody's mind is testosterone. Oh, I've got low T. That's the new thing right now. Oh, everybody's got low T, right? So you need testosterone shots. You need testosterone medication. That's what you need, young man. That's what you need, old man. That's what you need, middle-aged man. That's what you need. You need testosterone. Well, not so much. What you need is to take a freaking breath, step away from the MD-directed madness, and figure it out. It may interest you to know that testosterone and all sex hormones, whether you're a man or a woman, are made, drum roll please, from cholesterol. Cholesterol. If your body doesn't have enough testosterone, if you have low T, rather than trying to micromanage your hormones with blood testing and urine testing and testosterone injections and steroid hormone injections, a nice little concocted cocktail just for you, rather than attempting to force nature, perhaps it's more prudent just to support your body's ability to have healthy hormone levels.
Last time on Fitwit.
Ferula
Hermonis, native to the Mount Hermon region, often called Lebanese Viagra, has been extensively studied in animal models, specifically because of its severe toxicity profile.
Thank you, Greg.
That's from the National Institutes of Health. Severe testicular damage. Good God. Chronic use of Ferula Hermonis extracts causes structural degradation of the testes, epididymis, and seminal vesicles. Also from the National Institute of Health. Hormone crashing. Long-term use results in a sharp drop in serum testosterone. So the opposite effect of what you're expecting and hoping for. Contains high concentrations of ferritin, a sesquiterpene that acts as a strong phytoestrogen, while short-term doses spike testosterone. Subchronic and long-term use of ferritin overstimulates estrogen receptors. Hey, welcome back. If you haven't seen the first part of my Ferula Max coverage, please do so. There's going to be a lot of information in there that you're going to want to know when we get into this one. It's a very involved topic. it offers a lot of insight into what the fitness and allopathic medicine community thinks is okay to do to your body. Or if they don't think it's okay, I don't think you would think it's okay if you knew exactly what was going on when they make these recommendations. Those are all things to consider, like open the folders to those things and just put them to the side, because you'll be able to find how a lot of this stuff relates to each other in a grander scheme of things just by going over this topic. And yes, it's even worse than we thought. Ferula Max, it got way worse. So for those of you who don't know, and I'm sure everybody does, but let's just go over the basics. Estrogen is a primary human sex hormone produced by the body, whereas a phytoestrogen is a plant-derived compound with a similar chemical structure that can weakly mimic or moderate estrogen activity in humans. However, and we'll get to the however, but just remember I said however, and make that a pin in your mind. There's a big difference between a standard phytoestrogen and ferritin, okay? A huge difference. And anyone who underestimates ferritin because they think, it's like a phytoestrogen. What is like a soybean, flaxseed, lentils? Come on. No. These aren't weak or unremarkable changes in your body. These are pretty massive. So estrogen is a natural steroid hormone made mostly in the ovaries and in smaller amounts by the adrenal glands and fat tissue in humans and other vertebrae. Phytoestrogen, a naturally occurring non-steroidal plant chemical found in foods like soybeans, flaxseed, lentils, and grains. Estrogen, highly potent, it strongly binds to human estrogen receptors alpha and beta to drive major physiological processes like the menstrual cycle and reproductive health. That's in a female, obviously. Phytoestrogen, much weaker. Its binding affinity is slightly lower, often 1 to 10,000 times weaker than human estradiol, meaning it produces mild estrogenic or sometimes anti-estrogenic effects by blocking stronger natural hormones. That's interesting, right? It can block too. Function in the body. Estrogen regulates the development of the reproductive system, bone density, and metabolic pathways. Now, this is coming from the mind of a chemist and not the mind of a person who is into homeopathy, naturopathy, and understands the vital force and its role in the processes in your body. They just think that you're a big bag of chemicals, whereas people who are in the know understand that there is a vital force that is running millions upon millions of functions in your body without you having to think about it. It grew itself all by itself from one cell. That's pretty impressive. The body can heal itself. Doctors, they don't think that your body can heal itself. Naturopathy, naturopathic doctors, homeopathic doctors know that your body does do this, and they know that it's their job, their role, to support the body and then get out of its way so it can do what it knows how to do better than anyone else. And that's the big difference here. And let's apply it to what we're discussing here with Ferula Max and how this quote-unquote biohack is very unnatural. It runs a lot of risks. Let's just say it runs a lot of risks. Phytoestrogen acts as a modulator. It can highly stimulate receptors when natural hormone levels are low, such as during menopause, or block stronger estrogens by occupying receptor sites when levels are high. Okay, so it can get into the receptor sites, and therefore other things won't bind. If you believe in the receptor model, that would make sense to you. But let's continue. So if we ask, can a phytoestrogen as powerful as ferritin found in Ferula Hermonis cause a sex hormone imbalance? Because they're saying the phytoestrogens are basically not strong enough to do that. They interfere a little bit, but they're nothing, right? So if somebody thinks of that as the definition of phytoestrogen, well, then they're going to probably dismiss ferritin as being just, it's not that big of a deal. It's like a little mini guy, it's a little mini me. Get out of the way. It's not the case. Yes, ferritin can cause a sex hormone imbalance. So ferritin can cause a sex hormone imbalance because it is uniquely potent compared to typical dietary phytoestrogens. Unlike mild soy isoflavones, ferritin behaves like a highly active selective estrogen receptor modulator. Listen to what I just said. Selective estrogen receptor modulator. What does that spell in acronym? SERM. They're telling us that ferritin is not like taking a SERM. It is taking a SERM. I know they say behaves like a highly active SERM, but come on. if it does the same thing, if it walks like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, if it farts like a duck, if it shits every 3 steps, it's a duck. Geese. Canadian geese. Wait a minute. Greg is Canadian. Every 3 steps. Bloop. That's what's happening here. Not SERM. That's a little bit different. SERM. And binds directly to human estrogen receptors, specifically the estrogen receptor alpha, with about 1/10 of the binding affinity of actual estradiol. Because it binds so tightly, its impacts on the endocrine system can be profound, erratic, and dose dependent. This is ferritin. Why are we talking about ferritin? Because it's in Ferula Hermonis. Why are we talking about Ferula Hermonis? Because it's in Ferula Max. And we're not even getting into all the other things they stack it with yet. To understand just how ferritin disrupts hormone balance, it has a dual estrogenic and anti-estrogenic effect. Ferritin acts as a chameleon in the endocrine system. When natural estrogen is low, it mimics estrogen. However, if natural estrogen levels are normal or high, ferritin physically blocks the stronger human hormone from its receptors, triggering a localized functional estrogen deficiency. And that's from the National Institute of Health. Okay, now let's talk about the sharp spike in testosterone. In male animal models, acute administration of ferritin caused significant increases in blood testosterone levels. Awesome, but why? Not because it's nourishing the body, not by nourishing the body with something that builds testosterone. In male animal models, acute administration of ferritin, remember that's in Ferula Max, caused significant increases in blood testosterone levels. That's great, but how did it happen? Not by providing the body all the raw materials it needs and promoting and nourishing the body to help it create more testosterone. No, it just scared it. Too much estrogen. And it dumps all the testosterone in a can as a reflex. So, however, subchronic long-term use of the compound actually caused a reversal, leading to a net decrease in sexual capacity and motivation due to receptor fatigue. Cellular toxicity at high doses. Beyond hormone receptors, ferritin acts as an ionophore, meaning it can alter electrical charges across, holy crap, it can alter electrical charges across the cell membrane. At high doses, this mechanism causes mitochondrial dysfunction, god damn it, and cell death. What? While researchers are studying this specific mechanism for its potential anti-cancer benefits, it poses a strict risk of toxicity to healthy endocrine tissues if abused. Right, and if you're talking about cancer, you figured out what the cause is. I'm sorry, but this is another time where medical doctors are retarded. What is it that the body is doing that's screaming at you that it needs intervention? It's not the end result thing. It's something else that's messed up in the body that needs to be corrected. Potentially, and most likely, deficiencies in the raw materials that your body needs to heal itself. So if you're not putting those nutrients in your body, anything that you do to try to fix the problem that's on the surface is not holistic, and you're not giving the body the ability to do it itself because it knows how to do it best. Administering this and that over here in all these little isolated spots and treating the body as it's a bunch of separate parts is how you fail. 97% of the people, when it comes to cancer, their treatments fail. Their therapies fail. So I don't care about the potential anti-cancer benefits of it. Thank you, National Institute of Health, for showing me and reminding me just how ridiculous this archaic medical practice is. Forgive the sudden and abrupt rant here, but it's important for people to understand a medical doctor and the profession that deals with cancer, they consider success when they're doing their numbers 5 years and 1 day. So from the time you're diagnosed to the time you die, if they keep you alive until 5 years and 1 day, they mark that as a success. That doesn't mean that they saved the patient. And people who do survive their cancer treatments, that's a testament to their own internal strength and their ability to not only survive the cancer, but also to survive their therapeutics, because it's poison to the entire system of the body. So if you can handle what they call cancer and all the poisoning, that's a testament to you, not to their treatments. And their methodology and mindset is to address the tumor, address the localized thing. What is producing the cancer tumor, the cancerous condition in the body? They don't address the why. So your body is going to continue to generate whatever it is, if it's a toxin or whatnot, in order to try to combat what's going on in the body. And they're not addressing the cause, and they're just scraping the top off. It doesn't matter if they reduce the cancer cells. because they're going to continue to populate until you figure out what's going wrong inside the body. It seems like it's common sense, but for an MD, it's completely lost to them, to our detriment. Especially if you're talking about like cellular mutation. Well, what is wrong in the body that's generating these mutated or cancerous cells? If you don't address that and you're just removing the cells, well, whatever's generating it, like a respawner, is going to continue to do so. So the whole entire methodology is very flawed, and you're suffering under poisons and radiation while they go about things the absolute incorrect manner. That's why if you stick with me here on FitWit and you listen to all the talks I have with Dr. Peter Glidden, you'll get to understand. You can even join his membership site and get all the details to help understand what holistic medicine, naturopathy, and homeopathy does in comparison to the MDs who simply suppress symptoms and mitigate them rather than solve the actual problem, i.e. cure it. So anyway, what about the mitochondrial dysfunction? Do you know what the mitochondria does? It has its own DNA. Did you know that? That's kind of interesting, right? Mitochondria have their own DNA, separate of yours, and they're in your cells, and they create this thing called ATP energy. What do they need for that? Copper, mineral copper, and iron. Having enough copper in your body, keep that in balance. IP6 and inositol helps to balance that copper to iron ratio in your body too, so that you can get proper ATP energy production. What is the most common thing that people go to their doctor for? They go to their doctor because of fatigue. Just saying. And adding this copper to it wouldn't hurt. Links in the description. Most common phytoestrogens, like those in soy, are considered safe for daily consumption because they are incredibly weak. However, Ferula Hermonis, pay attention, and its active compound ferrotinin crossed the line from a mild dietary supplement into a potent pharmacologically active agent. Now that's from National Institutes of Health too. Taking it without medical supervision can easily alter your natural feedback loop and result in hormonal imbalance. If you're still on board to take Ferula Max, then you have to ask yourself, or you have to find out from me or someone else, how long of a duration of use of a 500 milligram extract of Ferula Hermonis stacked with 5 milligrams of black pepper extract, which is the contents of a Ferula Max capsule according to the box, would be considered a safe window of continuous use, and how long of a duration before it would be considered subchronic, i.e. how long can you use it before you're in danger of the opposite and undesired effects? Well, since it hasn't been released yet and they didn't do human trials, and everything that they've done with Ferula Hermonis in studies has been on animals, there's no medically established safe window for continuous use of a 500 milligram Ferula Hermonis extract. In toxicological terms, a duration of 10 to 14 days is considered the acute window, okay? That's the acute window. That's before subchronic. Every one of these times that we've been going over this information as to when the adverse effects occur, it's toward the tail end of acute and the beginning of what they consider subchronic. So anywhere between 10 and further up. So you could be looking at even sooner than 10 days because of the black pepper extract. Well, any use spanning 21 to 42 days, 3 to 6 weeks, is definitely classified as subchronic. At this subchronic stage, animal models show that the supplement actively reverses its desired effects, severely crashing testosterone and inducing reproductive tissue damage. And that's from the Journal of King Saud University. Please pay attention, because as far as I know from listening to Greg's little promo spots in his videos, every time he discusses it, he says you take it for a month and then you cycle off. Well, 21 days happens long before a month is over, as does 10 days. So if you want to be in the safe window, the acute usage window, you definitely want to consider taking it shorter duration. Well, what does that do for you when it comes to muscle growth? That's what I'm saying, right? Like, how much time do you think you're going to have to actually build significant muscle? And in the meantime, the only reason why you're getting that testosterone dump is because something else is being tweaked in a very odd and unnatural way in your body, which will probably force your body to rush all of its raw materials, nutrients, things that you would need, energy, ATP energy, and all that stuff to build muscle tissue. It'll probably take it away from there to try to fix the body. So it's going to be rerouting nutrients away from your active efforts in building muscle, because that would be secondary to what the problem in the body is. So the body's going to be forcing itself to work on the problem to fix it. Just like a guy at the house. The dad, I could take that really nice set of golf clubs out the burning building, or I could grab my child. Well, the golf clubs stay, the child goes if you're any kind of a guy. Now listen to this, because this is huge. The presence of 5 milligrams of black pepper extract, piperine, significantly accelerates this timeline by acting as a bioavailability enhancer, making a high 500 milligram dose even more unpredictable. So they're also naming 500 milligrams as a high dose. That's just one capsule. You know there's going to be people out there that think, well, if 500 is this good, 1,000 milligrams, 2 capsules is going to be even better. Or they'll say, well, I'm a 250-pound guy, so I'm going to take 3. No. Because human clinical trials on Ferula Hermonis are extremely limited due to safety concerns. Safety parameters rely heavily on mammalian toxicity profiles, little mousies. And that's from the Journal of King Saud University. When we were talking to Dr. Glidden the other day, I said, because we're at least all biological creatures in nature and have the same nature, like there aren't aliens that they conduct laboratory studies on. They're not from a different planet with a different atmosphere and a different type of setup of organs. I said, you can probably still learn quite a lot from a mouse and relate that somewhat to a larger mammal. You can learn a lot from a study on animals, how it's going to affect a human being, right? And he said, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, no, 100%. Animal testing is a really good way to go.
The short-term window, 1 to 10 days. 1 to 10 days. What happens? What happens during the 1 to 10 days of use of Ferula Max with 500 milligrams of Ferula Hermonis and 5 milligrams of black pepper extract? And that's just, we're just talking about the Ferula Max itself without the DHEA and the boron and what it all means when it's all crammed together inside you. Wink, wink. The danger, even within the short time frame of 1 to 10 days, human anecdotes and animal models report potential side effects like acute insomnia, rapid heart rate, or erratic blood pressure fluctuations due to the plant's aggressive vasoactive properties. Okay, so it's saying there's erratic blood pressure fluctuations. That should concern a lot of people, especially in the bodybuilding community, especially if you've been taking other things before, especially if you treat your body like a toxic waste dump and inject a bunch of stuff into yourself all the time. Your blood pressure is something that can kill you. You got to be careful what you're doing, why you're doing it, how you're doing it. If something's off, if you're not replacing the nutrients in your body that your body needs to maintain a healthy blood pressure, and then you take something that depletes more of those nutrients, you're going to run the risk of having some really serious problems. Make sure you're on the 90 essential nutrients, and I'm going to continue to say this because this is how you live. This is how you do it. This is how you have to do it. 90 essential nutrients with a focus on the 60 minerals that most people do not replenish in their body. And it's just happenstance if they happen to get some through the foods that they eat, which is still going to be well below the levels that they need to function at their optimal level. Once you get that in you, you might not need any other supplementation because you will finally have been operating at your highest potential. You'll see progress in the efforts that you make in the gym just because you're fully nutrified the natural way. And this is what I'm trying to get through. This message is very important because it'll save you a lot of money, save your life in the long run. You won't prematurely age yourself or shut down. Maybe, I don't know. Do you find it important to be able to have kids? I would, that kind of seems like a big deal, or it could end up becoming a big deal in your life, even if you don't think it is now. 11 to 20 days. What happens then? Ferritin actively competes with your body's natural hormones for receptor space. Like, that starts throwing elbows. So basically, because we have a Canadian involved in this whole Ferula Max thing, this supplement, this ferritin, it's throwing elbows. It's checking you up against the plexiglass. Ferritin is a hockey player, but it's like a dick, and it just really wants your receptors. It doesn't even give a shit about the puck. It's like a Claude Lemieux. Just wants to break jaws. The danger. As receptor saturation occurs, the body's natural endocrine feedback loop begins to down-regulate. Down. Kind of an important thing. Kind of makes all your sex hormones do its thing. It down-regulates its own hormone production to compensate for the external chemical stimulation. Right, and this is what happens with steroids too, and this is what happens with all these types of things, is you're supplying a signal that your body wasn't sending. So your body isn't sending a signal because it's maintaining equilibrium, an equipoise. You throwing something in there suddenly, especially when you're injecting past the whole digestive system, right into your bloodstream, without any liver filtration, any of that stuff, Now what's happened? It perceives it as an intrusion and it's a shock to the system. Doesn't matter what it is, but when it's something that actually affects your hormones by either suppressing some or mimicking as like a synthetic, and then people take a bunch of other things to try to suppress your body's natural reaction to the thing that was unnatural. And then they wonder why they age. And then they wonder why they have all these problems with their organs. And then they wonder why they're dead. But they don't wonder very much because they're dead. If you want to try a different method, that's awesome. I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad you're here to watch this video. But if you think that this is a safer alternative, that's where we have to discuss this. The subchronic phase of 21 to 48 days and what they call the danger zone.
You're in the danger zone from Top Gun.
What happens? What happens? This is the exact window where the supplement induced the opposite of its desired effects. 21 to 42 days. Well, that I still see that. I mean, hold on. Let me get this out of the way for a second. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. 21 is definitely still less than 30. So if you're saying you should do this for a month, Greg.
You're going to take it for a month. You're going to cycle off. You're going to then repeat the process.
People are going to have some problems. They might be a little mad at you, especially when it's like significant problems. So if you wanted a high testosterone boost, to the moon. What do you think opposite of that means? Below baseline, right? Did you expect that? Did you anticipate that? Is that something that you wanted? Below baseline? Because you were trying to take it to the end of the box or the 1 month time duration that they said? HTLT is going to be known as high testosterone, low testosterone. It's not harder than last time anymore, thanks to Ferula Max. The scientific evidence for this, you ask? Controlled studies tracking the administration of Ferula Hermonis for 6 weeks, that's 42 days, revealed a significant crash in systemic testosterone levels, profound reductions in sexual motivation, so you just don't even want it, no libido, testicular and ovarian atrophy, that means shrinking, right? Atrophy. It's like when your muscles shrink because you've been laying in bed all day, like Neo, with Morpheus, like his muscles have atrophied. So if you want to have greater absorption of the product and kind of like beat up your liver in the effort to get there, this black pepper would be a great idea. If this wasn't dumping a bunch of phytoestrogens in like the most extreme sense of phytoestrogen, this is a phytoestrogen that's literally on its own steroids because of how aggressive it is with your estrogen receptors. If it wasn't something that was the exact opposite of what you intended to have in your body, and you didn't know that this was just a way for your body to be shocked into producing or dumping whatever testosterone it did have into your system, you follow me? Then you probably don't want to enhance that phytoestrogen's ability to get into your cells because that's not a good thing. Well, that's what happens with the black pepper. So the inclusion of 5 milligrams of black pepper extract is designed to inhibit liver enzymes. The black pepper extract is designed to inhibit liver enzymes like CYP3A4 and glucocornidation, which these two things normally break down supplements before they reach the bloodstream. By trapping ferrotinin in the body for longer periods because the liver isn't taking care of it, the black pepper extract effectively increases the potency, there's more of it in there, and shortens the time it takes to reach subchronic toxicity because it's building up more without the liver assisting. A 500 milligram dose with piperine acts much harder on the body than 500 milligrams of the raw herb alone. If you do choose to take Ferula Max, which is considered a potent formulation, medical literature suggests it should strictly be treated as an occasional acute booster used for 1 to 3 days at a time. You're not supposed to use Ferula Hermonis on a constant daily basis for 30 days straight, for 10 days straight, for 15 days straight. It's not supposed to happen. We all know that this product is marketed as a testosterone booster to be used for a month continuously and then cycled off only to later repeat the process. That's how Greg has stated it.
You're going to take it for a month. You're going to cycle off. You're going to then repeat the process.
They market it as a muscle building supplement, but I don't think you can safely take this product long enough. How much muscle can you build in 1, 2, or 3 days before you might start experiencing an opposite effect, massive drop off in your testosterone? With the black pepper extract, it sounds like 3 days would be pushing it if you were trying to avoid damage or testosterone crashes. This is my perspective after reading the literature. I wouldn't take this at all, but if I was to take it in a hypothetical scenario, I would still not take this more than 1 to 3 days at a time. And I would be worried and concerned taking it beyond a second day. That's me personally, because I like the way my body works now. I've done a lot of work to keep it healthy, and I'm proud of my accomplishments and all the cardio I do and everything else that I have energy for. So I wouldn't want to derail myself chemically thinking that I was going to get the exact opposite effect from something. That's where I stand on that. I want to avoid testosterone crashes. I want to avoid damage. I wouldn't use it continuous for longer than 3 days, basically. Let's say a person took it for 7 days, 1 capsule a day. Would they get hit with a sharp drop off in testosterone, the lack of vitality at that point after stopping? Like when you stop, what do you feel? Not even like if you're taking it so long that you feel it while you're taking it, but what happens when you stop taking it? If you take it 3 days and then you stop, does it like spring back like a rubber band? If you take it 10 days and stop, the same effect as it's like letting go of the rubber band, does it spring back and do the opposite? Would they feel unwell? This is where they return back with this. The statement that was made, and this is not my statement, but this is a statement made based on the summary and conclusion of data from studies. And they say, taking into account all things considered, marketing a 500 milligram Ferula Hermonis product, especially with the black pepper extract, to be taken continuously for a month as a muscle builder is irresponsible, biologically contradictory, and highly dangerous. I'm going to repeat that. Marketing a 500 milligram Ferula Hermonis product to be taken continuously for a month as a muscle builder is irresponsible, biologically contradictory, and highly dangerous. This is a deep, dangerous flaw in using the specific plant for bodybuilding, and there is a documented yo-yo crash effect that occurs even with ultra short-term use. What does ultra short-term use mean? Because we were already talking about 10 days, we were talking about acute and then subchronic. What does ultra short-term use mean? That you're going to get a crash. So it says hypertrophy, building noticeable skeletal muscle through lifting, takes months of consistent training, progressive overload, and stable anabolic hormone profiles. That last one is going to be a problem if you're taking Ferula Hermonis. The contradiction that they're making here is you can't safely take this product long enough to achieve muscle growth, and that's from the Austin Publishing Group. If a user follows the manufacturer's directions and stays on it for 30 days, their testosterone will likely crash well below baseline, lower than low, halfway through the cycle. Well, halfway through the cycle would be day 15, so you wouldn't even get halfway through before you'd have some adverse effects. Is a potential. That's a potential, especially with the black pepper extract. 10 days, maybe. We don't know. Normal. Boom. What are you expecting? Here. You kind of got there, but now you're down here. Well below you were before. Halfway through your cycle. Well, if it's a 30-day cycle, halfway is 15 days. You're going to have potentially massive issues halfway through the cycle. You going to keep taking it? Instead of building muscle, they will be left in a catabolic, which is muscle wasting, low testosterone state, completely defeating the purpose of their lifting routine. And that is from the National Institutes of Health, referencing that. 5 milligrams may sound like a very little in comparison to 500 milligrams of Ferula Hermonis, but that's considered a potent level of the black pepper extract. At the 3-day mark, what I just assumed would probably be the most I would push it, it's probably the only safe duration, and that's not guaranteed. The compound accumulates rapidly, moving the timeline of cellular toxicity and receptor deregulation from weeks to just a few days. There is a distinct aggressive yo-yo effect associated with Ferula Hermonis when exogenous compounds strongly stimulate or mimic sex hormones. The brain's hypothalamus pituitary testicular axis takes immediate notice. That's HPT. So stopping after 7 days of use, there's going to be a crash. Severe and highly noticeable. Over a 7-day period, the body has experienced a profound spike in artificial estrogenic activity via ferritin, and a brief surge in testosterone. The HPT axis reacts to this surge by throttling down its natural production of GnRH and LH, the signaling hormones that tell the body to make testosterone, and that is the National Institutes of Health. How the user feels? Well, upon stopping at day 7, the body is caught completely off guard. Natural testosterone production is suppressed thanks to your taking of the Ferula Max, and external chemical support is suddenly gone. The user will likely experience a sharp drop-off in testosterone, resulting in acute fatigue, oh, that's always fun, a sudden loss of vitality or libido, brain fog, and feelings of lethargy or mild depression. Well, that does not say anything like that on the box, does it? Stopping after 4 days of use. After 4 days, the crash is moderate but still uncomfortable. While 4 days is not quite long enough to cause severe, long-lasting shutdown or tissue atrophy, it is absolutely long enough for vasoactive and central nervous system stimulating effects to wear off. Because the black pepper extract traps the compound in the system, Even a 4-day run will cause a noticeable come down. The user will likely feel uncomfortably unwell, experiencing rebound fatigue, mild headaches from changes in blood pressure. If you're getting a headache from blood pressure, there's already too extreme of an issue going on there. And a sudden dip in energy levels as the artificial stimulant leaves the body. The supplement industry is plagued by products that use animal studies selectively. A manufacturer sees a study showing a massive acute spike in testosterone and uses it to market a monthly muscle builder. They completely ignore the second half of that study, which shows testicular atrophy and a hormonal nosedive with continued use. If muscle growth and optimized testosterone are your goals, you need to have proper sleep. You need to stop only eating egg whites. Okay? The cholesterol your body needs to build hormones. I don't care about your calories at this moment. Use cardio. Okay? Make sure your body has sufficient amounts of cholesterol. There is no such thing as bad cholesterol. 75% of your brain is cholesterol. The myelin sheathing in your nerves. Guess what? Cholesterol. Every single hormone in your body. Guess what? Cholesterol. Your liver makes 20% of your needs, which means you need to put 70 to 80% more in your body. The 90 essential nutrients, the minerals that you need, the raw materials needed to do the processes in your body. You give your body what it needs. Have you ever had to think about how to do stuff that you don't know how to do? You know how to breathe. You know how to look at things. You know how to think, kind of. The rest of your body to do, but give it the raw materials it needs. Get out of its way. Go to the gym, work out, take the 90 essential nutrients, do these things piece by piece before you add a bunch of stuff to it, because you can never say, oh, it was the this when you put a bunch of stuff in you at once. And then you want to equate it to something else's and give that thing the credit. Assuming that just because you feel good or look different in a desired way, that's somehow doing something good to you. You know your minerals can't hurt you. You know your vitamins can't hurt you. You know if you don't have enough of these, your body's not going to function at the optimal level anyway. So if you're trying to put something in it that's going to force it to work harder, all you're going to do is deplete yourself further. Don't do that. Put the minerals and nutrients in your body and then give it a month or two, work out, lift your weights, do your cardio, manage your diet, but don't be afraid of the goddamn cholesterol. Because if you want to have testosterone and you don't want to give it cholesterol, you don't know what the hell you're doing. I'm sorry. There isn't a single freaking coach out there. There isn't a single freaking online personality that will tell you that, because they don't know, because they listen to the MDs, and all you're getting is the same retarded bullshit regurgitated to you. This is why this channel's here, to help fix the problems that they create. That's why we're here. This is why we do what we do. Let's proceed. Could this also result in hair loss? Doesn't everybody care about that? Could this also result in hair loss if the person took it for even half of the suggested time? So like 2 weeks? Stopping at the 15-day mark can absolutely cause acute hair loss. 15 days, and they're saying acute hair loss. And stretching the usage to 30 days risks inducing systemic damage. There's a potential for Ferula Hermonis usage to result in rapid hair shedding, but not through traditional male pattern baldness, not through DHT. Telogen effluvium, shock-inducing hair shedding. That's from the International Society of Hair Restoration. Hair follicles are highly sensitive to sudden, dramatic shifts in the body's chemical environment. Taking a 500 milligram dose amplified by black pepper for 15 days creates an intense artificial hormonal spike, followed by a sudden crash when stopped. So think about this. What happens to leaves when it gets cold? The nutrients go back into the tree to keep it alive for the colder seasons, and the leaves are the expendable extremities. Okay? So think about it in that sense. What's actually really happening here? Your body's pulling in nutrients because it's rapidly going through them. So what's happening? Your hair's falling out. Your nails might even get a little brittle. So things that you can do without, that your body's going to eject and discharge and not try to sustain and maintain, because it needs to reroute priorities and bring the nutrients where they're needed. And if you're in a state of upheaval inside your body, it's going to throw off all different types of other functions and systems and signaling in your body that your natural vital force is always maintaining. Things that you don't understand, things that they don't understand, things that we don't know about, but it's constantly keeping things in order. When this big wave comes in and upsets everything, we don't know what the ripple effect is. Don't for a minute think that it's isolated to just the thing that you did. It's going to throw everything else off too. And your body has to try to make sense of that, and it's going to pull in all of its resources to do so. So what's going to end up happening? Well, resources won't be wasted in a time of crisis, so your hair could easily fall out. And it's not from the DHT, but it's from this thing called telogen effluvium, shock-induced hair shedding. About 2 to 3 months after this 15-day cycle, a user would likely experience significant, noticeable hair thinning and shedding. Okay, so not till 2 to 3 months after the 15-day cycle would you even notice it. So would you ever even associate it with the cycle that you took half of? Would you even say, well, no, I was supposed to take it for 30 days, but it didn't agree with me. I got sick after like half of that time, so I stopped taking it. You wouldn't even associate your hair thinning and falling out with that time you took Ferula Max. Think about that. People can't even fathom that they got sick because they got like their flu shot and they're looking around for an invisible virus. Invisible biting unicorns must be the culprit, because it certainly couldn't have been the thing that I injected in my body. So if you took it for 30 days, you took it for the full cycle that's recommended. Extended exposure to ferrotinin at this concentration acts like a cellular ionophore, causing mitochondrial dysfunction in healthy tissues. This can result in localized tissue death, necrosis in liver cells. So you're not just killing your testes, as we had mentioned in the past video, but also your liver. While the liver can still recover from the moderate injury, a 30-day run approaches the threshold where scar tissue or fibrosis or severe acute supplement-induced liver injury can occur. And that is from the National Institute of Health. Now let's talk about your good old endocrine system, their testes, ovaries, and HPT axis. After 15 days, severe functional suppression, but generally reversible. At 2 weeks, your natural hormone feedback loop is heavily suppressed. Your brain has stopped signaling your body to produce its own testosterone. When you stop, you face a brutal hormonal crash, but your organs should eventually recover baseline function over several weeks or months. Several weeks or months for just taking this thing for 15 days. And you're going to feel like shit. That's the point. Like, how is this going to help you continue to work out and build muscle and be healthy and feel like you can conquer the world? You're going to be in misery. For what? For a quick high of testosterone that was not gone about in the proper way, but obviously, as we've seen, in the inverted way than it should have been, like the complete opposite way to increase your testosterone. That was how it was triggered. What? Okay, so now on a 30-day run, the risk of structural damage and prolonged dysfunction is high. Animal models using Ferula Hermonis for 4 to 6 weeks explicitly document histopathological degenerative changes, testicular atrophy, which is shrinking, and a permanent reduction in estrogen receptor expression. Let me say that again, permanent reduction in estrogen receptor expression. Now, they don't say if it's because the ferrotinin just never lets go, or if because of the ferrotinin it creates permanent damage, but the estrogen receptors are what the ferrotinin gives a boa constrictor hold on to. Recovery from this state is incredibly slow and may require medical intervention. Did you plan on that when you were taking your Ferula Max? Was that something that you wanted to do? Did you already call your doctor ahead of time? Be like, look, in about a month, you're going to see me and I'm going to be in rough shape, so get ready for your copay. Such as hormone replacement or post-cycle therapy. That's the part I was saving. I want this to be very clear, so please mark this. Please pay attention to this. If you take this product for 30 days, and because of the black pepper extract, it might not even take that long, but there's still a chance with just the first cycle that you may need to get onto TRT or HRT because of what happens through this process. So if you thought that this was like safer because it's a botanical, like a safer alternative to pinning yourself with steroids, some sort of performance enhancing drugs, if you thought this was safer than taking like, I don't know, D-ball, orals, or Anavar, it's not. It's running the same risks, and you might be in the same spot. And if you don't know that, and you don't anticipate that, and you don't understand and acknowledge and accept the potential dangers of something that you're taking, then you can't say you're making an informed decision on it. And if you're not making an informed decision because you don't know, that's when liability steps in, right? This is not something that you can't tell people. If there is a potential that people could end up being dependent on TRT or HRT because of this product, it shouldn't be released onto the market in the first place. And if you do, every precaution should be made to inform and warn people of the potential fallout, the potential repercussions of taking that product. And it should be stated in big bold letters or in neon lights, and it should be verbally, audibly expressed in each and every one of your videos when you're pitching this product to people who already trust you. This isn't something to overlook or to ignore, especially from somebody who did take performance-enhancing drugs for maybe over a decade and is now on TRT. To do that to someone else without them understanding the dangers, and to be the one who's supplying that, and to be the one who's making money off of that transaction, you have to really pause here. Pause, Greg. Verify this information that I'm saying. Make sure that you are 100% sure that this stuff is as safe as you think it is, and that you're not just being fed a bunch of shit from somebody who's trying to sell you something because they don't care, because it'll be your liability and not theirs. I'm looking out for you, Greg, and the people that might take this product. Okay, this is not me going after you. If you heed this warning, you might save yourself millions of dollars in lawsuits. See it for what it is. This constant chemical stimulation forces the adrenal glands to overproduce cortisol. You hear that, Lux Maxers? Were you thinking about getting some Ferula Max, were you? Oh no, you're spiking my cortisol. In the description of these videos, you will find a link for AzureStandard.com. This code BB5 right here gives you a discount. The 90 essential nutrients that you need for your body to be optimized at all times. Azure Whole Food Essential Nutrients, the Whole Food Multivitamin, the Alaskan Cod Liver Oil, the Fulvic-Humic Energy Blend, which gives you all of your minerals, and the IP6 Supreme with the inositol. And I also recommend adding the core copper. You'll find those right here where it says AzureStandard.com. Use code BB5. Whole Food Multivitamin, Alaskan Cod Liver Oil, the 3-month and 10-day supply of the Fulvic-Humic Blend. Super important. Can't skip that one. And the IP6 Supreme with inositol, which gives you a bioavailable, highly absorbable form of calcium, magnesium, and phosphorus. In addition, it gives you inositol, which helps balance your iron to copper ratio in your body to give you more ATP energy in your cells. And I also recommend adding the core copper.